Okay. So we have a song, us four sisters of Haley's. We have a surprise song that we practice surreptitiously. And this is a song kind of to our parents about our impressions of Joss, our new brother-in-law.
Mama, taught her to do the right things. So now you'll have to let your baby fly. You've given her everything that she will need to make it through this crazy thing called life. And I know you watched her grow up and only want what's best for her. And I think she's found the answer to your prayers. And he is good, so good. And he treats your little girl like a real man should. He is good, so good. He makes promises he keeps. No, he's never gonna leave. Don't you worry about her. Don't you worry about her. Daddy, there's no way you'll ever lose her. Giving her away is not goodbye. As you watch her walk down to her future, I hope tears of joy are in your eyes. 'Cause he is good, so good. And he treats your little girl like a real man should. He is good, so good. He makes promises he keeps. No, he's never gonna leave. Don't you worry about her. Don't you worry about her. Mama, don't you worry about her. Don't you worry about Haley.
Hello? Hello? Check? Check? There we go. I think that sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, so I hope you have all grabbed one of the Izzy's or water there, because we're going to go ahead and do some toasts here, or at least one. I don't know. So let me get my notes here. Haley and Joss wanted us to make sure that you guys went away from this wedding feeling like you know both of them, and feeling like you know their story, and know how they met each other, how they grew to love each other, and now why you're standing here today. So I have the privilege of having been at a lot of important moments, which is cool. So I was actually present when Haley and Joss first met. They were 14 years old. Haley and I were debate partners, and we knew Zeb, wherever Zeb is, and his older brother. And so Zeb, at some tournament in January of Haley's 14th year, so I think she just turned 14, maybe just turned 15. I don't know. So Zeb said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my brother." And Haley goes, "Man, he's really cute. I really want to meet him." So we went over, and Zeb introduced us to his little brother. And his little brother, we couldn't remember what his name was. It was like Isaiah or Caleb or something, but all we knew is that he was really cute. And so we went away from that tournament, that debate tournament, just going, "Oh yeah, wow, Zeb's little brother, he's cool." So, but from that time on, when they were 14, we as families got to know each other, and the two of them, without telling each other, grew to really like each other. And so there were even times like the next year when they were 15, they were debate partners, and there are pictures. We've lost them now for some reason, but there are pictures of hearts between them, because we would go and have debate tournaments at churches where it was like near Valentine's Day, and so there would be these hearts between Haley and Joss, and Haley would be like, "Oh, there are hearts! Oh my goodness!" And I don't know if Joss noticed, but so the girl family noticed, and we were pretty excited that there were hearts between them and all that. So, but they were a pretty stellar debate team. It was kind of annoying because I'm older and I'd done debate longer, and I was supposed to be better, but they beat us. And I remember watching them in a couple final rounds when I didn't even get to place in those debate tournaments or anything. So. They were beating their older siblings at debate with hearts in between them. So that works. Yeah. So just for the sake of keeping this short, there are tons of stories I could tell because Haley and I were roommates for all of our lives. And then I had to go away to college for 1 year without her. And then she came and joined me. And then we were roommates my senior year. And it was right after my junior year of college, Haley's sophomore year of college. We were home for the summer, and Haley was saying, I just really like Joss, and I don't know what to do about it. And unbeknownst to the rest of the family, Joss had talked to my dad, and they'd gone to Starbucks or something and talked about the whole situation and agreed on some terms. And then sometime, I think Joss had talked to my dad on a Monday or something like that. And there was a whole week where my parents had to keep this secret. And they did a good job, really surprisingly, actually. And so I think Joss had talked to my dad on Monday. On like Wednesday or something, Haley had been hanging out with the Fries, and she came home late at night, and she flopped down on the floor and laid there with her arms spread out and said, I love Joss, and I just want to marry him. And my mom was sitting on the couch, and she was terrified that she'd let something slip, but she hadn't. Haley was that was just Haley's own thing. So, but that Sunday after that, Joss had planned to take Haley on a ride on his motorcycle, and the rest of us were thinking, I think something's going to happen today, and indeed they rode 100 miles that day on their motorcycle, and at one of the stops he asked her to date him, and that was 2 years ago, about a month ago. So this is about 2 years and a month from the time they started dating. And, when we as girls heard that they had started dating, we screamed and ran around the house and said, finally, and all that. So that was the girl version of the story. But I have been so blessed to see them grow as people these past 2 years, because in the middle of those 2 years, I got to be Haley's roommate at college. And so I got to, we got to lay in bed, and I got to hear stories about what was going on with Joss. And it's been amazing to me to see Joss grow from the boy who asked my dad to ask Haley to date, and into a man that I think actually can lead Haley in a way that our dad has been leading us these many years. And I've seen Haley grow from a little girl who flops on the floor saying, I love Joss, I want to marry him, to someone who's actually ready to set up a household and to be his wife. So I am really, really proud of them, and they have made some amazing transformations from the time they were 14 to today. So with that, I want to pass it off to Zeb, I believe. No, to Matt.
I'm Matt McClenny. I'm a longtime friend of Joss's, and I'm here to give you kind of the guy's perspective to this relationship. I'd love to tell you a story of Joss coming home late at night, flopping down on the couch, hands in the air. I am so in love with Haley. I don't know what to do. Unfortunately, this was not the case. That would have made for an easy story. Instead, here's kind of how it went down with me. Joss and I, we used to go and exercise in the mornings during the summer at the gym. And so we were just in the middle of a normal day working out. I think, Joss, you were doing curls with your arms, like 5-10 pounds probably. And I think he was tired, and that's why he just chose that moment. He just stopped lifting, and he just straight up bluntly told me, he was like, Matt, I'm going to ask Haley out. And he then proceeds, as any engineer would do, to give me his kind of logic, his reasoning, the cost-benefit analysis, the pros, the cons. Thankfully, Haley, there were no cons. So, but yeah. So that was my experience with it. Joss was just very blunt. He made the decision. He says, I'm going to date Haley, ask her to be my girlfriend. But I knew there had to be more than this going on. So about a week ago, I knew I was going to be making this toast. I went out on Facebook and spent a good 2 or 3 hours reading every single conversation between them for the last 4 years or so. Sounds weird, I know. I apologize. But as an engineer myself, I decided I needed a quantitative way to measure this relationship. What I did is I took and counted every single smiley face in every conversation between them for the last 4 years, plotted that as a function of time. And you'd be glad to know there is an upward trend very clearly. So this marriage was, I can tell you 100% that this was not avoidable. So, but seriously though, I think that something that as a friend, Joss stood out to me, one of his character qualities is that he is a man, when he decides to do something, he does it all the way. And he gives it his all. And that's something very biblical, I think. In Colossians, it talks about when you set your mind to something, doing it with all your heart and doing it for the honor of God. And so that's something I think that will be exemplified within your guys' marriage. And I think we all look forward to seeing. So, and we look forward to how you guys are going to have an impact on your friends and family. So I just wanted to say, we hope that your commitment to the Lord and your marriage would sustain your love for each other, for your family and your friends, and that you would share many more smiley faces on Facebook.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Zeb, Josiah's older brother. The two of us were extremely close growing up, and we still are, and we did everything together. And I'd just like to clarify real quick that I don't think I ever told Haley or Jill or any of the Buccola girls that Joss was cute. It probably wasn't the words I would have used. So that was their own idea. But I was trying to think back to, kind of what Joss and Haley, because Joss is a very even-keeled type of guy. He doesn't, like Matt said, flop down on the couch. But I was trying to think, what is it that really was unique that I admire about the relationship? And it's that their relationship started in a way that so many relationships should, and that is they were the very best of friends. When they started in debate and in high school, their relationship, just as friends, it wasn't romantic, super romantic or anything like that. Maybe on Haley's side it was a hopefulness, but I felt that they just had a really good friendship. And I never really had any doubts, I don't think. In fact, I ran into a friend the other day, and a couple friends in the mall, and they hadn't seen Joss and Haley really too much since high school. And I ran into him and said, Joss is getting married. And they said, really, to who? And I said, Frye-Buccola. And they sarcastically said, oh, you couldn't see that coming, could you? So it's been a long time in coming. And I think the only time that probably was a little bit up in the air was perhaps when Haley decided to leave and go to Michigan, follow Jill and head off. And so I was thinking about that, and I thought there's a lot of cliches in life that can kind of describe that period of their relationship. You have sort of cliches that, like don't cross that bridge until you come to it, right? But then if you think about it, there's always like a cliche that's almost exactly opposite, like a stitch in time saves 9. So when Haley went off to school, I think perhaps what was going through some of our minds is, well, absence makes the heart grow fonder. But of course, that doesn't leave you with a lot of extra confidence when you think of the other cliche, out of sight, out of mind. And so I think sometime about halfway through Haley's school, Joss decided, well, maybe I should be thinking about this a little more seriously. I think the time's coming. I'm almost done school. Haley's almost done school. And he started thinking about it. And so I think he was operating off of sort of this concept of, look before you leap, right? Well, Mom promptly reminded him that Joss, he who hesitates is lost. And so I think, having married a girl from Oregon myself, I know that distance can be an extremely stressful and straining thing on a friendship and on a relationship. But they had such a deep friendship and still do that it stood that test and it came out stronger. And that's something that I admire, that their friendship has been so strong, is only beginning to grow into something better, and it will every day. And the last thought I sort of wanted to leave you was that there's a Bible verse. It says, a friend loves at all times. Brother is born for adversity. I think that explains why Joss ditched me and is going after Haley. So with the rest of you, just raise your Izzies with me and toast to them and to their friendship, and to all of us that we can support them and encourage them, and that from this day forward, their friendship would continue to grow and blossom. Joss and Haley, cheers.